welcome to the April meeting of the Library Marketing Book Club. And we are just thrilled. This month we read Marketing Made Simple by Donald Miller and Dr. J.J. Peterson. And we are so fortunate. We are so lucky and so thrilled to have April Sunshine Hawkins here with us. And I will read April's a little bit about April. So when April learned that Donald Miller's Storybrand framework, when she learned Donald Miller's Storybrand framework, her communication, marketing, and sales skill sets improved so drastically that she wanted to help other businesses learn and incorporate the concepts so that they could grow their businesses and their enterprises. With more than 17 years of teaching and facilitation experience, she goes out on behalf of Storybrand to deliver engaging Storybrand workshops and keynotes to help your team clarify your company message and get on the same page about the story that you are inviting your customers into. She's worked with clients in almost every industry, from billion-dollar brands like Bloomberg and Ava Labs to equally important, always equally important, small businesses and nonprofits. She is also a co-host of the hit podcast, Marketing Made Simple with Dr. J.J. Peterson from Storybrand. And that definitely makes her an expert in this field. While she is not teaching, using her teaching skill set, April Sunshine enjoys being outside, hiking, playing pickleball with her husband, Brent, binging podcasts, and meeting up with friends for an adventure any chance she could get. So welcome, April. It's great to have you here. And if you'd like to say anything additionally, please.
Well, thank you so much, Chris. And thank you to all of you amazing humans who are doing incredible work. Of course, we as humans communicate via words, and a lot of those words end up in books that you are trying to connect people to read. And so your jobs are important, you are important, and your time is important. And so I'm excited that you all decided to join this book club run by this incredible human. He's over here on my screen. Chris, with such great energy. And so you all decided to consume this Marketing Made Simple book. And I can't wait to kind of get into the nitty-gritty with you. Like, how can you apply this? If you read the book, you know we talk a lot about implementation and how that is really the key factor in any kind of success that you'll see. And so, yeah, I would love to use this hour however you wish to really provide you all with some value, some new ideas that you can explore as it relates to trying to motivate people to do the things that you really want them to do. So that's what I'll say to kick off the call, and toss it back over to you, Chris.
Thanks so much, April. So yeah, it's great. And this book is fantastic. For some of the people who were in the group earlier, actually at the very beginning of the group, we had April's co-host, Dr. J.J. Peterson here when we read Building a Storybrand. So it's definitely been a big theme throughout this book club. It's been fantastic. So first thing I'd like to do, like I usually do, is I will throw it to the group and see what were your thoughts about the book, and what questions or what things did it bring up for you that we can talk about today. So jump on in, speak up, or if I will try and keep an eye on the chat. So if you want to drop something in the chat, please do. So what do you think? What were your initial thoughts?
I see Angela's like reaching for the unmute button. She's thinking about it. Okay, yes, Angela.
Yes, I can do. I'll start. It's so funny. You have to get one person to talk, in every book club, and I always end up being the person. I don't know why, because I like to get it out of the way, so I don't have to worry about it for later.
Yes, Angela.
So there's a lot of advice in this book about how brands can do marketing and create relationships with their customers. And I think sometimes that translation is difficult for library marketers because they don't see that their card holders are customers. And we feel very differently about the way, well, we feel like our community thinks about us differently than they might for a for-profit brand. However, okay, so full disclosure, I used to work for a library and now I work for a vendor that helps libraries. So now I often talk about this concept with our customers because their community is customers. Like there's no difference really. The only difference is they don't have to pull out their wallet when it comes time for the transaction. And so I wondered if you had any advice for libraries on how they should be thinking about that. Like there's a big difference between the way a customer thinks about a brand and the way somebody thinks about something they get for free, or so we think, but there really isn't a difference. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, Angela, such a great thing to bring to the forefront, because I bet there are other people on this call that are like shaking their heads and going, yep, I'm tracking with what Angela is saying, right? But yeah, you are wanting whoever it is, whether it's the patron, or in your case, you're wanting to work directly either with librarians or the person at the library who you're wanting to, work with, since you work directly with libraries. And there's somebody there that you want to do something, or you want to empower them to do something, right? And in order to get them to move forward, or in order to get them to understand what you're hoping that they'll do, then you have to use words in order to in order to tell them clearly how to do that. And so whenever you're reading a book like this, or maybe your cover looks like this, or maybe you listen to the audio version of this book, it's like, okay, creating a one-liner, creating a website, creating a lead generator, creating an email sequence. Maybe you're in charge of some of those things, and maybe you don't have any power over some of those things. A lot of the librarians out there have a very strict little website page that you have in your control. And so my thought is to, okay, just think about, who are the people that I want to communicate with, that I'm hoping to motivate to do something. It doesn't have to be a purchase. It can be for them to, check a book out. That's like as simple as it comes, right? We want you to read a book. Very, very simple. At my library in Nashville, they have like a seed loan program, right? Like that is something that they want me to do. Oh, my library also offers free passes to the African American Music Museum, which is one of the best museums that I have ever been to in the history of ever. And in order to do that, you have to get on the list, and then you're on the list for so many months because so many people want to do it. And so you have to think about your priorities as a librarian or a vendor or a communicator, and go, okay, for this month or for next month, I'm planning for next month, who am I trying to motivate to do something? What do I want them to do? And where am I able to make contact with them? Because in a library, what do you have available to you? You have sometimes window display space. You have signage that you could put out front as somebody's walking in or on the door itself. You have maybe social media accounts that are available to you. Maybe you do have an email list of people that you're able to follow up with. And so you're wanting to think through, okay, well, if I have a seed program, that seed program, it needs a one-liner. Can I put some information about it on a website somewhere? Maybe. What about a informational pamphlet that then can be at the checkout desk? Or what about a da da da? So I've been talking for a long time, Angela. So now, Angela, I want you to unmute again and give me some of your thoughts or some of your like reactions to what I've been saying.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And I think that quite frequently the libraries that well, most of my library friends, they just kind of get stuck in this, like, it's a cycle of and I don't know if this happens at businesses. It certainly doesn't happen in my company, but in a library, you get requests from everybody to promote everything. And it's like, and so when the book was talking about like one-liners, I was thinking to myself, a library could have 20 one-liners going at one time. Totally. Because they're supposed to be like promoting all of this stuff. And it's very difficult to do targeted anything at a library because our business serves the entire community. And so we have 30 different target personas. So I don't know if you have some advice for the folks in the book club about like narrowing it down somewhat so that it's manageable. Because I think, and I don't know if everybody else feels this way, when I worked in a library, I felt like I was on a treadmill all the time. And that is exhausting, and it means you're not doing your best work. So now I'm going to shut up and let you talk, April.
Well, I mean, it is obvious that is something that everybody on this call is relating to, right? It's like, so-and-so's coming to me and they've got a request, and so-and-so's coming to me and they've got a request, and so-and-so's coming to me and they're like, hey, what about this job training? Oh, hey, what about free internet? What about da da da? And you're, as a librarian, going, I got into this to help the people, but I don't know how to help all the people with all the things. It's so much work. So prioritizing, I think that is a task in and of itself, right? I have to carve out time on my calendar to make the priorities. And from there, then I can determine, okay, well, what can I physically, tangibly, with the amount of time that I have, tackle? Because we cannot be all things to all people. We cannot, we just absolutely can't. And so it's like, okay, what are my 3 initiatives for the month of May going to be? There's going to be 3. It's not going to be 20. And you can be like, there's a spot for that. That's the bulletin board or whatever. Somebody can go over and they can find out that information on the bulletin board. But the 3 initiatives that we're going to push on the front door, at the checkout desk, and on the shelves are going to be like curiosity building things that make people want to ask questions about this thing that we're wanting to push. And so carving out time for priority, picking 3 things that are like big things that you want to tackle because you're like, this I feel like will make such a huge difference in the community. And if we push this in the month of May, because May is also the whatever month, great. And you could also, meet with leaders that are outside of the library, that are community members, to help determine what some of those priorities could be for the community. But yeah, that I totally understand. We only have so much brain space. We are trying to be all things to all people in our community, and we just can't. We just can't. So, Angela, thank you for bringing these things to the forefront. You are not alone, and this is the same in any business. We at Storybrand have to determine, what are we going to push people to? Because when we redid storybrand.com and we were like, well, you could do our online course, or you could hire us for a private workshop, or you could become a Storybrand certified guide, you could read the book, you could listen to the podcast, or you could our traffic on that website, we were still getting a lot of traffic to come to the page, but our engagement was going down because we were like, here are 7 things that you could do. And now, if you go to storybrand.com, you could become a Storybrand certified guide, or you could hire a Storybrand certified guide to help you out. We have prioritized these two items because they are the most important within our Storybrand ecosystem, for the ecosystem to keep going. And so you're going to have to hunt, or we're going to have to say it on the podcast and push it to you in a different way. So those are some thoughts on that. Chris.
Yeah.
Thoughts
Thanks,
from
April.
you.
What's that?
Thoughts from you.
Thoughts
or
from
toss
me.
it back.
Oh, geez, no, that's awesome. I think it's great. Yeah. And April, I like how you're talking about something that I think makes us feel a little better about it, is that this is not the only business that experiences those issues. So I think a lot of times in libraries, we feel like, because some library marketers are, they will call themselves accidental. That drives me crazy because I don't think of them as accidents. I think they're very purposeful and they're awesome. But they're not maybe in this field before, and so they kind of feel like, oh, I'm the only one experiencing this. And I think it's very nice to hear that this is something that happens with a lot of businesses, and this is something that that people need to do and prioritize. And there's some great comments in the chat about how to prioritize. Somebody talks about being the only bilingual communications team member. So what do we push in Spanish, and what do we not push in Spanish? And so I think everybody, talks about, I think everybody does feel and resonate with those same issues, is, how do we prioritize? Because as Angela said, it's, we're a very broad organization, and, technically our customers are this huge cosmopolitan group. But and we think that those are our customers for all the products, but, I just love the, focus on these things. And I love, the focus on being curious. I think the curiosity in the book is something that really is becomes very important, is that if you're not curious, if your customer is not curious, then it's maybe not your customer, right? So, and that's okay.
That is okay. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Joy, you were raising your hand. Yeah.
Hi, thank you. First of all, I admit I did not read the book, but I will read the book.
Happens.
I'm in another book club and I did read that book. So I love what you said about carving out the priorities and the curiosity building. And I know we're all in the same boat. I feel like in this job, and I am not a librarian, I am a marketing person, and we're 37 libraries and all that stuff. We have become so good that my services get lent out to other organizations. So for example, not only am I doing what we're doing for the Buffalo and Erie County Public Library, we may write a grant, or someone writes a grant, another organization, and then includes marketing because they want to work with the library. And then suddenly I am writing marketing plans for an organization called Mission Ignite, wonderful organization. They put hands of the needy. They're going to be doing some training in our libraries, but I'm now writing their marketing plan and placing the advertising and billboards for that organization. Okay, this morning I did it for a different organization and they're all not-for-profits, and they're all real organizations.
Yeah.
But I think our success here, everyone thinks we're so great, and you know what? We're really good, but it's almost convincing our higher ups here that if we want to be really good at promoting libraries, it would be good to be able to concentrate just promoting libraries versus now I'm promoting books for kids, Project Flight, Mission Ignite. Got a phone call a little while ago from the Buffalo Sabres hockey team. There's a new person there and they want to have a program for reading, which is great. We want to be part of it, but it seems we end up doing a lot of the heavy work, and I'm not complaining. I'm just putting that out there.
So Joy.
So April, maybe my boss should be in here listening to you, April.
Totally. Totally. So Joy, number one, your job sounds enormous. Like things just keep being put onto your plate. And it sounds to me like this might be a system thing, because have you all read Atomic Habits in this book club by
We
James
did.
Clear?
Mhm. We
Okay,
did.
so in that book, James Clear, he says, we do not rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems and our processes. And so, Joy, what you're saying is my goal is to serve libraries, but yet the system is putting things on your plate that are not within that goal. And therefore, you are being spread thin. You are having to help other people with this work, which you're happy that they're doing great work, but yet you're wondering, hey, if my bandwidth is 40 hours a week, hopefully it's only 40.
50.
Yeah, I know. I used to be a teacher, I get it. So that conversation, I think, is so key, is saying, hey, if our goal is this, and if my mission, my personal life mission is to help libraries, then I want to be spending my 40 hours a week doing this work. And I would really like for this to be taken out of the system, because we keep doing this. We can change the system so that they're able to hire someone else, or I'm able to run a training for the people that are going to own it and hold it and do all the things, and I can like maximize my time. But like, how do you want the system to be set up to help you achieve those goals? So Joy, is that resonating with you? Helpful?
Yeah, very, very helpful. And I will read Atomic Habits.
Yeah. Oh,
So now I added
so
another book to my to read
I
list.
know.
I appreciate that. Really, I think you hit it right on the nose. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet, Joy. You bet. All right. What else?
We have a couple
What
things
else?
in the chat. There's been some
Yeah.
interesting things going on in the chat. People talking about all the items that are scheduled on their calendar, and a quarter are non-public events, but the rest they're expected to communicate. And yeah, and you know, Kristen, I think really, or Kirsten, sorry, Kirsten really nailed it with hers. And where is she? You know, we don't need to market to everyone for small crafts or programs. Just because everyone can technically participate doesn't mean we need to push it to everyone. And that's something that I think we all struggle with and we all try and get to. But yeah, I think, you know, and I think April, something from the book that that I'm looking through my notes that you were talking about. Where was it? Oh, this might be a little different. But if I can talk about something in the book that talks about being passive. So I think this is another tendency. When I was reading the book, this kind of jumped out at me at a tendency of library, you know, the library culture is to be passive and to respect our customers. And we think, you know, by being quiet and by being passive, they'll eventually just, you know, they know. And this is, I think, a lot of things that happen is people just think, you know, well, people know what libraries do and they know what libraries have. Or if we just put it out in front of them, everything, that then people are going to make the decisions. They know we don't have to put anything in front of them. So you know, that's obviously a very important point in the book. And how would you, you know, is there anything else that you have to say about that idea of, you know, how do we get over the thing of, you know, well, we need to be polite and not sell to people versus, you know, how do we engage with people to make sure that we're getting them the information they really want?
Yeah, absolutely. And Donna, will come to you next as well. But I mean, the reason a sales funnel exists is to try to help people get to the point of what you're trying to get them to do. And if we just assume that they will do it, then our engagement is going to be so low. It's going to be so low, because what are people doing? They are rushing around in their normal everyday lives. they are, I mean, maybe they placed a hold on whatever they were wanting to read and they're just going to dash in and dash out of the library. But if I see a poster that makes me curious about an upcoming event or about something that you've got going on, maybe there's a summer reading program that I could sign my kid up for, and I'm a mom, which I'm not a mom, but like if that was me, then I see the poster, it causes me to be curious, and now I might scan a QR code. People, we got to use the QR codes. This like the easiest way to get somebody who's busy to engage with what we've got going on is to just give them more information via a QR code. Make the poster real big, beautiful, with just a few words that get them curious enough to go, ding, 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 that's me. They're talking to me. This is interesting to me. I do want to know more. Scan the QR code. I can flip through and sign up or whatever it is right then. Because also, you know, people would love to talk to you, but what if you're busy? Or, you know, what if you're away from the desk? What if you're whatever? Yep. Put the information right in their hands and you will see engagement go up so fast. So the sales funnel, having a one-liner for something, and then having a place that you're sending them to, either a website landing page or a Canva document or whatever it is. And then if you get them to opt in some way, like they're on your email list, you could nurture them by following up with emails. And then if you're having an event that's happening in a time-bound thing, that's like you've got to sign up for the summer reading program by this date if you want to enroll your kid, then you're going to send a pretty specific email with, you got to do it by this date, because people are motivated by, I got to do this. Like I was looking at 2 different online courses that I wanted to take. And one of them, I needed to sign up by today. At like 11 a.m. this call is going to happen. And I'm on the website at 10:50 figuring out, is this the one I want to do? So like give people a date that they need to sign up by, or they need to take action by, or they need to get in on it. And that will increase engagement, tremendously.
That's awesome, April. Thank you. Donna, Donna, you had a question. You're muted Donna, right now, Donna.
Whoop.
Sorry.
There you go.
Just kind of piggybacking on a little bit of what Joy was saying. My personal hats that I am wearing today, just today. I'm in charge of planning the summer reading program and soliciting and collecting all the donations. I am the only marketing person for our entire library district.
Mm-hmm.
I am in charge of all adult programming in our library district. Yep. I am a branch manager.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I have a boss who, by virtue of her personality, wants everybody to be happy. So she has a tendency to kind of overcommit to everyone.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to ruffle any feathers. She doesn't want to make anybody upset or angry and it's like, I can't do it all. And I'm only supposed to work 35 hours a week.
Yep.
Not possible.
I know this book, I told Don and JJ, you need to include a book about boundaries in this book, because it's so important for our bosses to have boundaries, for us to have boundaries, in order to do this work. Like, it's just so difficult. Yes, Donna. So do you have a question in what you're saying, or
I guess, since I'm being told that these 5 things are all your number one priority, how do I prioritize within that? I mean, I'm meeting myself coming and going sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, yeah. So I think that you are naming a need right now.
mhm.
And I want you to continue to whittle it down. Okay, so what I heard you say was, if all of these things are my top five priorities, how do I like whittle it down within that? So what do you need in order to do that?
Well, more hours in the day.
Okay, okay, all right. Wait, I rub my little magic lamp, and that one does not happen because of the time continuum, or we can't mess with it apparently. So what else?
Fewer interruptions, more
Mm.
people that I could delegate to, because I don't have
Mm.
anybody I can delegate
Mm.
these things to.
Okay. Which of these things are in your control?
Definitely I could do something more about the interruptions.
And what could you do about the interruptions?
Ideally hire a bunch of different people.
Yeah, of course. Of course. That would be incredible. If you are in charge of that, amazing. If that's within your control. What else could you do about the interruptions?
Just closing my door and putting my phone on do not disturb.
Huge. I have to do this. Business owners everywhere, librarians everywhere. This is a huge thing. Like, what's it called? Task switching. It's not called that. It's called context switching or whatever. It is one of our great nemesis and enemies to our productivity and to our sanity. And so, yes, I think also, like, I have to sometimes be like, I am going to work at a coffee shop that isn't my office, and I have to claim it and just be like, do you trust me that when I'm going to this coffee shop, I'm going to shut out all of the whatevers? Like, that might not be an option for you, but sometimes a change of scenery, super helpful for, okay, whenever I'm carving out my priorities, I do it with a tea that I love. I do it with a little chocolate that I absolutely adore. And I make this a task that I will enjoy. I will enjoy this time because I was in control of how I was going to do it. Because whenever I'm overwhelmed, I have to stop down. Like, that is when overwhelm overtakes me, that is my cue to be like, I've got to turn everything else down. The volume has to go so low on everything. And what is in my control and what is my need? How can I make this a really enjoyable thing? So that's not in the book. I'll tell Don that whenever he like rewrites it, we will include a new chapter. Donna, is that helpful at all?
It is. Kind of what Chris was saying earlier about, I never, before having this job, I was not a marketer by trade. I was, or by training. And, there are definitely days where I feel like I have so much imposter syndrome. It's not even funny. And just, one of these days, I've been doing this for 4 years, and one of these days they're going to figure out I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
The good news is nobody knows what they're doing, and it's fine. It's fine. We are going through this human experience. We are using words to help describe this human experience that we are having. And then we use those words to try to help motivate people to do awesome, great things that we know are going to affect them in their lives. And Donna, you're nailing it. You're doing an incredible job. You are enough just by showing up. That's it. That's it. That's all we need. And the fact that you're a part of a book club and a community of support, that's you taking care of, like, okay, I'm leveling up my skill sets. Those things are within my control. So kudos to you. And
I have
yeah,
pictures of Angela and Evelyn just for inspiration. You know?
it's over here. I love it. I love it. Fantastic, Donna. Thank you for sharing. I think that many, many humans on this call have some of the same struggles and feelings that you do. So thank you for voicing those right now. All right.
I think Wendy had another question about, so Wendy had a couple, but one was staying away from information overload on like a brochure that she's putting together and actual information. And how does she determine what information is the need to know on the actual brochure, and how do I present it in an engaging way? So April, I don't know if the right tool is going to be in there for this, but is there something in, say, the brand script or something in that you may be able to apply to a situation like this? Because a brand script doesn't necessarily, I mean, it talks about it, of course, in the book, and talks about, you know, things you've talked about, but the brand script doesn't necessarily need to be just for our overarching entire brand only. You know, it can be for different things. So maybe, I don't know, you know, how would you help Wendy with, you know, what is the need to know information and how does she present it so it's engaging?
Okay. Chris, can I share my screen? Can you give
please.
me permission?
What do I do to do
I think that you look over at
multiple participants can share simultaneously. Can you share?
Boom. You did it. You did it. Fantastic. Okay. So let's go to, if you all want to create a free account, you can do so at mystorybrand.com. Mystorybrand.com. I'll pop that in the chat. Da, 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 da. Okay, so at mystorybrand.com, you'll have to answer quite a few questions. So if you don't want to do it right now on your computer, that's totally fine. Or if you want to utilize this time to sign up for the account, you can go ahead and do that while I'm talking. But I'm an existing user, so I'll log in and just kind of give a little overview of what this is. So, Wendy has a brochure, and I'm going to create a brand script for it. Okay. So this is in the Building a Story Brand book, and we recommend that you would create a brand script, which is, I mean, you all are librarians. You have seen stories upon stories upon stories, and you live and breathe this formula, but it is the exact same thing that you can do when you're sitting down to create a brochure. You just want to think about, okay, well, for this brochure, what's it for? Like, who am I creating it for? Who am I trying to motivate to do the thing? Like, who's my customer or my patron or the person at the organization that I'm trying to get to, you know, convince them to do something? Well, what is it that they want? They're gonna have a lot of different wants, but what would they want in relation to showing up at the event, or if they take advantage of the seed program? You know, what is it that they would want? So you would include that in your brand script here. And then I recommend skipping the villain and just jumping directly to the problem. Okay, well, what problem does this event or does this initiative solve? Like, what problem's getting in the way? Like, why is the event happening in the first place? It's probably because that person is experiencing some kind of problem in their life. If they're a mom and their kid has dyslexia and there's some sort of programming that you're offering, maybe, you know, they're looking for summer reading programs that cater to this, but most summer reading programs don't cater to kids with dyslexia, or don't understand all of the complexities, or don't create the curriculum around the complexities of that. And as a mom, that can really make you feel, and then you kind of talk about the internal problem that that mom is facing. And then you can talk about why that's just plain wrong. That's a philosophical problem, but we believe, like, whether your kid has dyslexia or not, they should be able to participate wholeheartedly and get an incredible summer reading experience, and that's why, we understand how tough it is to drop your kid off and not know if your kid is going to be able to, keep up in those activities or not. And so that's why we've really been intentional, and we provide, 2 adults for every 10 kids, or 2 adults for every, 2 kids, or, whatever you want to say as your authority. Like, why is your way of doing it something that this mom or dad or person could trust? And then you give them a plan. Like, so what's the plan? How does the dyslexia program work? You could talk about the ways that it happens, or you could talk about, when you drop your kid off, they'll be, assigned their buddy. Then whenever they are struggling, they can use the phrase blah, 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 and this will help, da, da, da. And then, then they will feel confident every day as they go throughout their day. So your third part of your, step of your plan could be a, successful result that is going to happen. And then you've got to call them to action. What do you actually want them to do? Like, so sign your kid up today, or, whatever the main thing that you want them to do. I would focus on the direct call to action. And then you can include, what is life going to look like? What failure do you help them avoid? So you and your kid can stop dreading drop-off time in the morning, and instead you'll see your kid racing into the library to meet up with their friends and their buddy. So that is a basic brand script that takes you through the elements that could be included on the brochure in some way. Call to action has to be on there, right? Like, what do you want them to do? And I think the problem is one of the most helpful pieces to get somebody to go, ding, 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 that's me. I'm experiencing that problem. And now that you've made me pay attention to it, I might actually want to take action to solve that problem. And you've now positioned your event or your program to help me out with that. And that's really what we're trying to do, is we're trying to help people solve problems and live a better life. So that is a very quick overview. Wendy, are you able, I see you're in a room with other people. Are you able to unmute yourself and chat? Okay, great. So yeah, what were some questions that came up or thoughts as I was going through that?
I think that is a really great idea, say, in terms of how you're promoting a specific program. But say your library says, okay, well, here's how to, now that you've got your library card, here's how you search our catalog. But that's not the only thing. Here's how you do access to downloads of audiobooks, because you never know what that one patron is interested. And also we have free museum passes. And also here's how you subscribe to a newsletter. So it's such like a non sequitur of chapters that don't exactly follow the character on some kind of hero's journey. So, and right now we have one, it isn't bad, but it has some bullet points and it has a lot of text. And I kind of want to pare it down
Yeah.
just the stuff that people are going to go, this is what I need to know to get the most out of your library. And
Right.
so that's what I'm trying to just see what needs to be there and what doesn't.
And what I'm hearing you say is you're creating almost a newcomer's guide, right? You're new to the area, and this is how our library works, right? You need to know how to do this and this and this and this. And it is very difficult to put all of that on a piece of paper, like one 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, which I totally understand why you want to actually print it out, because that is the most accessible to people who are using the library. Not everybody has a mobile device. Not everybody has access to the internet, if they leave, all of those kinds of things, because it would be just so simple to be like, new to the library, scan this QR code and go directly to our Canva. Yeah, you're not going to call it the Canva, our newcomer's guide, but then the link is there in Canva, which I keep referencing Canva. Are you all familiar with Canva?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it is just a lifesaver, right? For people like us who have to design things, and we're novices, and I don't have Illustrator or whatever, but man, it has been so helpful to have that as a tool whenever I'm creating a newcomer's guide of some kind, because it's easily updatable, like I'm able to just update it right there, and the updates are immediately available. I can have a view only link that then is a URL that I can create a QR code with, so that somebody scans it, and then I can have multiple pages, and somebody can just click on the first page. The first page is like, what do you want to know? How to browse the thing? Do you want to know how to sign up for our summer programs? Do you want to know this? And then somebody can self-select, oh, I want to know this, and it takes them directly to that page. It's like having a website without having to create a website, right?
I do have a plan to incorporate a QR code, and the director has created a landing page that then has buttons that you click, browse our collection, or how to download this. So maybe I don't have to include everything, but are there age barriers for QR codes? Like people under a certain age don't use them, or do you see them becoming effective across age groups?
Well, because people, when they show up at restaurants, have to scan the QR codes with their phones to pull up a menu on their phone. I think that really helped a lot of people understand how to use QR codes. So we're seeing just wide swaths of people understanding how to do that. They might not all like to do it, depending on how old they are. And if they're younger and they don't have access to a device, they're likely with a parent who's the person that's going to be walking them through that process anyway. So I think QR codes are a huge, win. And you can also provide underneath the direct URL if somebody is just not wanting to, engage with the QR code.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Wendy. Yeah, great question.
Yeah, it's great, Wendy.
We're winding down, Chris.
Yes, we are getting close to our time. I have a little alarm that's probably going to go off in a second saying it's time to wrap up with April. Oh, there it is. So April, I know that you have to go to another appointment, and I really thank you so much for taking the time to come here and talk about us with Marketing Made Simple. Is absolutely fantastic. I do a couple things first. What do you want to plug? Where should people go to get more?
Okay, everybody, get out your phone. See, I'm going to call you to action right now. Okay, get out your phone, right. And then go to whatever your podcast app that you like to use, and then type in Marketing Made Simple. Just type in Marketing Made Simple, same name of the book that you just read. And Dr. JJ Peterson and I, you can go ahead and subscribe or follow on Spotify or or Stitcher or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. And like this one, this most recent episode, 7 Ways AI Can Save You Time and Money. Donna, yes, Donna, this episode is for you, my friend, because they talk about, JJ interviews Stacy Moore, one of our Storybrand certified guides, and they talk about the different people that you're kind of replacing with the AI. So if you don't have the budget to hire someone, sometimes you can use AI as a free human to help you do work. Well, they're not a human, obviously. That's why it's called AI.
I have been using Chat GPT as an evaluative tool.
Yeah.
I will say, this is what I wrote. How do I make it better?
Yes.
But I haven't gone down the rabbit hole of write me a press release.
This episode is great, Donna. You are going to love this episode.
Okay.
It's actually, there's a series of 3 of them that April and JJ did so far about AI. You're going to love them. They're going to save you so much time. It's going to be like having a virtual assistant. It's fantastic. So
yeah.
April,
Awesome.
Thank you again. Real quick, can you pick a number between 1 and 15?
Oh, I got to go number 2.
Okay, so number 2 is Joy. Joy, you win a copy of our book for next month. So next month it's Think Again by Adam Grant. But April, thank you again. We look forward to hearing you on the podcast, and thank you so much for your time. It's been wonderful.
It has been a pleasure. You all get out there, prioritize, make your priority meeting just like your favorite meeting of the month, because you're meeting with yourself and you get to choose however you want to make it. And set yourself up for success. You all are doing such incredible work. So thank you for just letting me zoom in and be a little part of it. Hopefully give you some inspiration, give you some fire, get those creative juices flowing. And Chris, thank you for organizing and being an incredible host. And you all, you'll hear me on the podcast. We'll hang out there. Yes. Okay. All right.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you all.
Thanks,
April. Thank you. And thank you so much. If everybody wants to, stick around, feel free to stick around for a minute. I just wanted to add one more thing. So at the end of the podcast, what you'll hear is they do an actionable step. So I thought maybe we can start trying this in our book club. So here's the actionable step for this month is to go to mystorybrand.com, sign up for an account. It's totally free. And create a brand script. Create either a brand script for your whole library or create a brand script for just a certain project, or like Wendy, create a brand script for a brochure that you're working on. So that's the actionable step. That will help you get further along into the process. And then when you look at this Marketing Made Simple book, you look back through it and you see a lot of the things that those are going to come right from your brand script. It's going to make us something so easy. So that's what I recommend. Take the time this month to go through, do a brand script. And there's even a great thing in the book that's this little Mad Libs paragraph that if you take the brand script and you put it in there, you're going to be amazed at what it says about your library or your product or whatever project you're working on. So that's my recommendation, is go and do a brand script this month. Any last words from anybody? We've got just a couple minutes. Any last thoughts from anybody about anything? I really appreciate the questions and the interaction. So
she was fantastic. I'd love to take another something with her,
Yeah, it's great, Evelyn.
It's fabulous.
She's wonderful. And so there are all kinds of levels, like she mentioned, and they mentioned in the book, there's all kinds of ways that you can interact with her, with other Storybrand certified guides. When they do I believe she is part of the Storybrand Live. So there's a Storybrand Live event. It costs $1,000. So I'll let you know it costs $1,000, but it's I think it's a 2-day, like totally immersive Storybrand training. And when you go through that, you're going to come out of it with a brand script for your organization, maybe even multiple brand scripts. You're going to work with Storybrand guides. And I believe that April is part of that facilitation, but definitely listen to the podcast. I'm going to drop one more podcast link in there. This one that she shared, this podcast link, this particular episode has a lot about the whole different ways that you can get involved in the Storybrand process. So take a look at that one. It's actually, and if you don't just want to click this link, you'll get this link in your email. If I have your email, and I'll get you a survey, you'll get the chat, so you can get the links. But it's the one right around Thanksgiving last year that she and JJ recorded. So take a look. She's fantastic. It's great to get all of her advice. Follow her on social media. She and JJ do really fun reels that are very informative. So but if nothing else, thank you all so much for coming this month. I really appreciate it. Hope you had a good time. And next month, our book is Think Again, I think is what
Think
it's called.
Again,
Is it called
yes.
Think Again?
Really
It
enough.
sounded like it was running through my head, like
Yes.
Think Again. Think Again by Adam Grant. And we will meet at, I think it's like the 23rd of May, but keep a lookout for that. And please keep a lookout for the survey for the meeting in your email inbox or on Facebook if I don't have your email. And thank you so much. I look forward to talking to you all again soon. And please hit me up anytime with anything you need.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris, as always. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
everybody. Bye.